Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We have had another really rainy week, so things are not any drier over here with Shadowfax and Arwen than they were a week ago. We thought it was going to dry up, and now it's not, and now it's just muddy again. Anyway, and the mosquitoes are bad, so that's fun. But today I wanted to talk about transporting your mini horse, because this can be a bit of an issue. How do you get them home? If you're going to go to shows, how do you get them to shows? It's actually a big deal. Now, their smaller size actually makes them a little easier to transport, but it also makes them kind of weirder. Okay? They do tend to be easier to load into a standard livestock trailer because they're smaller, so the opening is therefore bigger relative to their size. So it's easier to get a little mini horse to step into a trailer than it is a big horse. So these guys tend to be a little bit easier to load, and they're also a lot braver often than their larger counterparts. So they're more willing to get into the trailer than some of their larger counterparts. And you'll notice he's still shedding out a little bit, but he's good. He's almost lost his winter coat. Someone had asked. Yeah, we do brush it out, but he is a stubborn shedder, so it takes a bit. Anyway, that's not the point. So, they are a little bit easier to load in a trailer. So you have a couple of different options for getting your mini horse loading in a trailer or in a whatever you're using. The first idea you can do is use a livestock trailer, a horse trailer. This is the easiest thing to use. Okay, they've got good ventilation, they are sturdy, they are the safest way to transport livestock because they're designed for transporting livestock. A standard size horse trailer may need some modifying. Okay, the dividers on a horse trailer tend to be too high to help contain your horses. A lot of minis like Shadowfax can just walk under the standard dividers in a horse trailer. He just walks right under them, doesn't faze them at all. A larger mini actually might get stuck under them. So, nap time. Anyway, so larger mini horses can get wedged under those dividers. Smaller ones just go straight underneath. So it might be best to tie those dividers back unless you have stallion dividers or you have dividers that go all the way to the floor anyway. In general, those swinging, suspended in the middle of the air dividers for larger horses simply do not work for miniature horses, so bear that in mind. You can remove those dividers and install ones that work for your mini horse, so shorter ones that, your mini horse will actually be able to stay behind. If you do that, keep the big ones that you removed, because if you need to resell that trailer later, most people don't want the mini dividers. So you can actually buy mini dividers for a lot of different horse trailers. They actually make them. Okay? So you can get them. It's not that. It's simply, why are we eating muddy hay off the ground instead of the good hay in your barn, by the way? You don't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He'll eat muddy hay. He's weird. He has fresh hay in the barn. Anyway, not the point. But so you can buy those dividers and install them. Just keep your old dividers so that if you are reselling your trailer, you don't have to take a hit on the resale value, because most people want the bigger dividers, not the smaller ones. If you're only occasionally transporting your mini horse, you can just tie those dividers back so that they don't swing out and whack your mini horse. And either tie the mini horse, just tie them up, or just leave them loose. I prefer to leave them loose. When we have to transport Shadowfax, we do it in a livestock trailer, in a horse trailer, and we make sure that he's just loose in there. We don't tie him or anything, because it's just easier to let him figure out what to do and how to stand and everything rather than tie him. Miniature horses are really kind of naughty, and they're really good at getting themselves tangled in things and really bad at getting themselves untangled. So you probably want to make sure that there's nothing hanging like lead ropes and such, including their own lead rope, to get tangled in, because it's not fun. You can get miniature-sized horse trailers. You can get miniature trailers that are designed to transport mini horse, mini cows, mini donkeys, things like that. Before you invest in one of those, decide if you're actually going to use it a lot, because they do tend to be kind of expensive. They're kind of a specialty item. Not a lot of people want them. So if you are going to get a mini trailer, just decide if it's actually worth the money. You typically can't get them used very easily because people who buy them do tend to buy them because they need them. So just decide if that's actually worth the investment. The second idea that a lot of people use is a cargo trailer. Okay, cargo trailers for transporting your mini horse. That actually does work because cargo trailers tend to be a little less expensive, but they require modification. So before you go out and buy a cargo trailer, decide if you can even do the modifications yourself or if you have to hire someone, how much that's going to cost. Sometimes when you add the cost of modifying that cargo trailer to the cost of the cargo trailer, turns out you could have just bought a horse trailer. So make sure you're very aware of the costs. Some of the modifications you may have to make to your cargo trailer, you have to add ventilation. You really need to add ventilation. You can't skip that step. You absolutely have to. So you're going to have to cut vents. You're going to have to fit vents. It's going to need to be modified in that way. You also may have to reinforce the ground, like the floor of the trailer. And you're almost certainly going to have to add something like mats and stuff for your horse to walk on, mostly because you're going to have a problem if you don't. Most of those trailers are designed to like transport things like ATVs and stuff. They don't have a ground floor suitable for your miniature horse. So you're going to have to address that as well. Make sure it can also take the weight that you are planning to put in it. You know, if you have 2 or 3 miniature horses in it, that's almost 1,000 pounds worth of horse, right? So you do need to make sure it can handle the weight load you're intending to use. The final thing that you may want to consider, this is not safe, by the way. Not safe. My next suggestion. And I don't like it, but people do it. We've all seen it. Someone putting their miniature horse in the back of a van, or they might put them in an SUV or the back of a truck. This isn't a great idea unless you've thought about all the safety features. Because if you just, yes, I've seen people get a miniature horse to lay down in the back of an SUV. It's not necessarily safe. It's not the getting them in there. It's the getting them out without breaking a leg. So you definitely want to consider how you're going to keep your miniature horse safe if you're using a van or a truck or an SUV to transport your miniature horse. It might be possible. It may not be safe. So pay attention to both safety and ventilation if you are going to use a standard vehicle to transport your mini horse. Yeah, they're small and they fit. That doesn't mean it's safe. So if you're going to do it safely. Yes, you can do it in a minivan. Just make sure you have outfitted your minivan for the safety of both yourself, the driver, and the horse that you're transporting. In the event of an accident, you want both of you to be as safe as possible. That is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Be careful transporting your mini horse. They are precious cargo. We'll see you tomorrow.